Yo, what's up guys? So I haven't made a video like this in a long time, so I decided why not make a brand new updated video so that every time you guys have this question, you can come back to this video, and it's my most recent settings, and I haven't really been changing a whole lot. So what you see is what I'm probably going to be using for a while. So we're going to get into the settings in a second, but before we do, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the support on the channel. We're nearing 800K. We're super close, man. We're getting closer and closer every single day. Thank you so much for making that a possibility. If you do enjoy my content and you would like to help me along my road to 1 million subscribers, make sure you do hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell as well so you're always notified when I upload a brand new video. Thank you so much again for all the support. I love you guys. Let's head into the settings. So I changed a couple things recently, and you guys probably noticed straight off the bat that my boost meter is smaller than usual. I'll tell you guys how to change that in a sec, but we'll start off with the first tab. So for gameplay, it's up to you guys really if you want to use unlimited boost in free play. You don't need to. You could turn it off and it might get you some practice with boost management. So if I have like 60 boost here, I know what I can do with 60 boost because I'm practicing with my boost actually being limited. So that's something you can mess with and try to figure out if you want to use unlimited boost all the time, or have it limited so you know your boost usage and how much boost you're actually using, and maybe even learning the pathing of where the pads are at. That's two useful things that you can get out of not using unlimited boost. That's probably the biggest thing, to be honest, on this first page. Everything else is pretty much default. It's up to you guys if you want text chat disabled. Some people do. Voice chat, I disabled that because I don't want people yelling in the mic when I'm playing, especially when I'm streaming. Split screen layout, I don't think it really matters. Cross platform, I turn it on because I don't mind playing against PS4 and Xbox players. Up to you guys. If you're on PS4 and you don't want to play PC players, you can turn that off if you want only console players in your games. All this stuff I think should be default. I'm not 100% sure about the input buffer or the bandwidth limit. I'm pretty sure that you could change two of these settings. If you're having internet issues, if you change them to something, you can actually help with that by changing those settings. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but you can. So look into that more. If you're having internet issues, maybe that might help you. Show competitive divisions, I have that on, and extra mode ranks, I have that on, and game stat display level, you could change this to whatever you want, but I have it in main stats only because I don't want all stats popping up. So anyway, for camera, this is the big one that always gets asked in my streams, on my YouTube comments, everywhere pretty much, and I do change these pretty often, but I've been on these for probably a week and a half now, and we just won our first tournament under NRG together with these settings. So if you guys are wondering what they are, here it is. It's 110, 270, 110, -3, 0.4, 4.7 swivel speed, which is just only affecting how fast the camera moves left to right with your right stick, and transition speed, which is how fast your camera snaps on and off the ball on ball cam. So those are my camera settings. And what I will say for you guys that are wondering what settings to use, or you try these settings and you don't like them, there's a pretty obvious range of what settings are used in pro play. So I'll just give you guys that range right now. And from my experience, I've used so many different variations of camera settings. This is what I would experiment if I was you guys for the first time trying out new settings, or you're just stuck and you don't know what to use. So for field of view, try anywhere between, I'd say 108 to 110. That's what's used in pro play. Most people use 110. Distance, I would say anywhere between 260 and 290. That's most of what's used in pro play. The average right now, I'd say what most pros are using is 270. For height, most people, you'll see them using 90 to 110. Most people right now, I'd say use 100. That's probably the most used one at the moment, but either 110 or 90 is useful. I use 110 -3 right now, but there's different combinations of height and angle that go really well together. I'll tell you guys those combinations in a second. So yeah, the gap for angle is -3 to -5, and this one is probably the one that there is no set number. Pros use like literally any of these three. There's no one that's used the most. I'd say if I had to guess, -3 is probably used the most right now. I'm not 100% sure though on that, but it's between -5 and -3 is what's used. No one really uses 2 or 6. No one really uses beyond there. For stiffness, you can really use anywhere between 0 and 1, but I'd recommend you guys to only use between 30 and 70. That's probably the sweet spot. Most pros use 0.4. I would say 0.4 is probably the most popular stiffness, just because it's a good amount of like wiggly, and when you turn it feels fast. I don't know, it's a good amount of like just feeling fast, and it feels wiggly and it feels loose, and it doesn't feel like you're too stuck to your car. And you'll notice right away if you try 70 stiffness, for example, you'll notice the difference. And you got to figure out if you like how it feels, because some people do like how it feels. There's some really good players that use high stiffness, and they're very successful with it. So you just got to find out what you like to use the most. That's all. So for stiffness, yeah, anywhere between 40 and 70 is what I'd recommend, but I'm using 40 right now, and most pros do use 40. For swivel speed, we're at 4.7, but honestly, it doesn't matter at all what you use for this. It's all up to if you want your camera to be super snappy when you're looking right and left, or if you want it to be like super slow, so it's a slow gradual movement when you're moving right and left like this. It's completely up to you. You just gotta find a middle ground. I think 4.7 is a good mid, where I can do a slight adjustment if I need to, but I can also do a quick one if I want to. So I think it's a good middle ground in my opinion. And again, for the last thing, transition speed. This is completely preference. I just don't like 2 at all. Snapping completely on and off the ball like this right away is not what I want to see at all. It just hurts my head every time. That little, the cut in the camera, I don't like that at all. So I like to have mine at 1.2. That way it's smooth and it's fast at the same time. That's a good in between for me. I'll give you guys some combinations to work with over my time of experimenting with settings. You should use a base of 110, 270, and then mess with 110, -3, 100, -3, 90, -5, 100, -5, 100, -4, and yeah, that's pretty much the main ones that most people use. Some people use 100, -3, but those are the main combinations of height and angle. But yeah, with all those ranges that I gave you guys, you should be able to pick some settings that you do end up enjoying. But these are pretty much what most pros are looking at right now in terms of settings. It's somewhat near this. For controls, all I use that's different than the normal default controls is power slide on L1, and my air roll is also on L1, and I have my air roll right on square for, you know, air dribbles and for other things in the air. It's just a different way of air rolling that you have a little bit more control over your car for. So I have that on square, and then I just moved my scoreboard to R1 because I moved my air roll and stuff to L1, so I had to move it over to R1. That's it. That's the only thing on my controls that are changed. So let's go back real quick, and here we have our steering and aerial sense at 1.3. This is purely personal preference, and a lot of pros change this quite often. I'd say the average is definitely 1.3 though for most pros. Dodge dead zone is really up to you. If you have it too low, you're gonna backflip, so you want to have it at a decent number where you're not going to backflip. It's all preference, like I said, because it depends how much you pull your stick down. If you pull your stick down a lot, you don't really need it that high. You can have yours much lower. But yeah, I like mine at 0.7 just to prevent backflipping, and I think it's a good in between. And control dead zone, I like mine at 0.05. This is definitely what most pros use. It's either 0.05 or 0.1 is what you'll see out of most pros, but the majority use 0.05 by a far margin. But 1.3, 1.3 is definitely what you want to look for in terms of a good baseline for sensitivities. That's what most pros use. For interface, I'm using 87, 95, 100. So 87 interface scale and the 95 display scale is what moves my boost from being, you know, as big as it normally is, which is this, to down to where it was. So 87 and 95 is what I'm using right now. That's why my boost is smaller, and I honestly wanted to try to do this and get used to this so that I have more awareness of the field. And I feel like in a way it kind of makes me play a little bit smarter, because I feel like I can see more of the field and I make better decisions because I have more time to tell what's going to happen. There's not much of my screen being covered by anything. For nameplate mode, I have that on default. That's what you want to have it on. That's so that you always see everyone's nameplate at all times. It doesn't just disappear when they go far away. You want to have that on default. That's the best setting to have for that. Match notifications, I have it on time updates only. I don't like things popping up in the middle of my screen. I like to only see the time updates. I have this on, colorblind mode off. You can use this on if you want. If you're colorblind, of course, you should use this. But you know, some people use it and they're not even colorblind. They just like the way the colors look. So you can mess with that if you wanted to. Force default team colors, I don't have that on. Rocket IDs I have on. Notifications on. Team color boost meter, again, up to you. Personal preference if you want a blue or orange, you know, it's up to you really. You have to just make that choice for yourself. Metric, I don't have on. Ball cam indicator, I have off. That's if you want the red thing on the bottom left. I don't really like it on, so probably gonna turn it off. No, I'll leave it on. You know what? I'll leave it on. Sure, I'll make a change with that. And ball arrow I have on. That's only if you want to have that little white arrow above your car. If you don't want it, turn it off. I like to have it on because if I have ball cam off and the ball is above my head, I want to be able to see where it is quick. I think it's a really useful thing to have, to be honest. For video settings, almost every single pro uses the same thing. The only thing you'll see maybe different is world detail at high quality. That's about the only difference you'll see out of some pros, but this is what you want to be using. The default resolution, obviously. Some people use stretch, actually. I've seen some like freestylers use stretch. I haven't seen any pros use it, but use default res. I think that's the best bet. Anti-aliasing off, and you want to have all of these off except for transparent goalposts. And then world detail is the one that I was talking about. You want to have all these at low, I'd say, but if you want to have multiple ball trails behind the ball, put it on high quality world detail. You see those multiple ball trails? When I turn that off and I hit the ball, it'll just have one line, only one line. So if you want the multiple trails, then use that on high quality, but it's completely up to you really. It's all preference in terms of that. but that's what most pros use. Everything off, and then maybe some pros use high quality. For audio, I have it on this, but it's different for everyone. It depends on your PC or your PS4 or your Xbox. And for chat, I haven't really changed much here, but that's that. Yeah, guys, those are all my settings, and I wanted to make this video just because, like I said, a lot of you guys always ask me stuff about my settings, and I figured why not give you guys just a baseline video that you can always come back to that has everything, you know, you need right here in one video. That way you don't have to keep asking the question, and it's at your fingertips whenever you want. If you ever forget what settings I was using, come back here. And yes, my camera settings will change a little bit here and there, but that range that I gave you for every single setting is always what I'm pretty much using. So just try to find a camera setting in between those ranges and you'll be good to go. Honestly, you'll find settings that you'll feel comfortable with, and honestly, you might even be better off finding your own settings rather than using mine, because you might not enjoy them. At the end of the day, a lot of settings are just personal preference. You just got to take your time and find them. Same thing that goes with any FPS. If you're trying to find your sensitivity or your crosshair, it's all mostly preference. So don't copy a pro stuff just because, you know, they're a pro. It's not going to instantly make you a pro. You got to find what feels good to you. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Have yourself a wonderful day or night, whatever time it is when you're watching this. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. I love y'all, and peace.